What's up? It's your boy Carcino here, and let's talk about it. I thought I've done this before, but I guess I probably did. The truth behind the breakup of 3LW. Because everybody's going crazy talking about 3LW this, 3LW that. I mean, people are losing. And I'm like, wow. I can't believe everybody is really bent out of shape about stuff like this. It was like, Cino, you got to tell us the real. And I'm like, well, since people have donated to the page, I feel like it's my civic duty to do this. It has become my duty and my mission to tell you guys what went down. Now, when 3LW first came out, at the time, things were starting to die down for like TLC. You know, they brought out that crazy, sexy, cool flavor. And these were the girls that grew up off TLC. You know, this was their movement. This was their time. But by 2001, 2000, TLC is kind of at their impasse. They're done. They're legends of the game. And it hadn't really, it's been a void there for those girl groups to come out and really do something. And I think Dream was out at that time and they were trying to come out and do some things. Then you had more individuals. Destiny Child was a little, they came out and started blowing up early on, and they were kind of holding their own in that '98 period. So when they came onto the scene, they were like, okay, Destiny Child, but they were adults. They were nothing really for the kids. Nothing really for the younger teens anymore. So they had that Adrian Bailon from what's that? The View, or not The View, but The Real, and two other friends, Khalid Williams and Notori. No, and I shouldn't say. Let me repeat. I should not say friends. Too too stern. Um, in the early 2000s, watching this and deciding they wanted to come up with the group, Notori was already pursuing, going into a singing career and things of that nature. It was actually Khalid's idea that they become a group. 3LW, Three Little Women, and so the auntie, who was the manager and basically the parent for Khalid, came up with the idea of this group, and they got Adrian Balone in there, and she just wanted to be famous, period. Couldn't really sing a lick, but hey, she tried. Then they had that No More, Baby I'ma Do Right, and Players Gonna Play, and all that stuff, and the No More was the song that took off. They sold like 1 million records out the gate. They were huge. They won the BET award for best album. They took right off. They actually recorded a song with Michael Jackson, Beyonce, Mariah Carey. Celine Dion. Then they did a Mariah Carey song with the What More Can I Give? In a response to the 2001 9/11 situation. But things change. Sorry about that. It's kind of early in the morning. And I'm choking over here. But here's the situation. 3LW, Three Little Women, were three very young women. And with this youngness came irresponsibility to the business. Notori had some very rooted issues about being neglected over her skin tone. She always felt that other people were put ahead of her because of it. And she took that into a lot of situations and made it very uncomfortable for a lot of people. She was very territorial, very moody. And Khalid, as even back then, she's very disrespectful, likes to be the head of everything, likes to be in charge, and never apologizes for anything. She always feels she was in the right. So those two clashed immediately. Those two styles. Those two personalities were going to collide, and Adrian was going to be the one in the middle. And she always was in the middle, not the one breaking it up, but the one sitting back. Just like, why don't y'all chill? And just like, I'm going with whoever wins this situation. So over time, Khalid always loved whenever they do these little promos, these little interviews, whether it's BT, TRL, or whatever. She would always engage in a conversation and always, like, eventually just talk too much. Then she mentioned the fact about Naturi getting dumped by her boyfriend cheated on her and all this stuff. And she brought all that up on like the show, and Naturi was like, "Wow, you're really gonna bring that up on the show?" And Naturi just always felt like Khalid was jealous of her because Naturi could sing, and she always felt like, "Well, I don't get the same appreciation or love because I'm the dark skinned one in the group." People perceptions is something else. Like they might have went through a situation and they bring that into a situation and make it something it wasn't. So they got into a lot of arguments and fights about it because she's like, "Look, you don't bring my personal business up." She's like, "What? It's just entertainment. Who cares? Get over it. You're moping over this guy. You broke up with him. Forget it. It's a big mess. It's just one big mess after another." Then comes the situation where these two infighting. It's time to record another album, like right off the bat. So they start making another album, like right away. And it was called Same Game, Different Rules. That was the name of the new album that they were working on. They had the song called Uh-Oh. And they had performed it on stage, where I believe you could probably find that song somewhere. Um, and what happened is the album they were working on, all of the songs got leaked somehow. And Epic considered dropping the group. Nobody even came forward to admit how it got leaked on the internet on the MP3. the songs that they had already worked on for Same Game, Different Rules, and they had rejected the president of Epic, or the guy who's in charge, said, "I don't like this song. Uh-oh. It doesn't sound urban enough." What they were looking for is to make sure they keep their core audience, which was black young teens. They were that urban teen. They had that market. And they kind of felt like, uh-oh, it was going to scare their core audience away as they were gearing up, going more towards pop mainstreams where they're getting the little white teens, Hispanic teens, and the black teens. Epic was like, well, that's too risky right now. Let's just stick with the urban market. Keep those urban songs going. And uh-oh, they felt was a song that did fit the urban market and all the other markets. So I think somebody tried to like, well, if we leak it, they'll have no choice but to back it. And I think that backfired. And Epic was talking about dropping them. And then they kept them even though, they felt like they're going to take a loss, putting all those songs out there for free. Wasn't like the old streaming era. So all this stuff with Notorious going on behind the scenes, right? Her and Khalid arguing and fighting over stuff. Till finally they get in the car, the KFC incident that everybody's talking about, right? They get into a discussion about Notori, her attitude, and all this stuff, and Notori says some things, they say some things, and according to Notori, they threw mashed potatoes and some chicken and whatever else was in the box of KFC, threw it all in her face, and she got out the car, and then they drove off and left. Now this is the complete story now that we have. So hopefully we're at this point that they left her out there. Now the details I got from another party on the other side is saying this is what happened. They were eating in the car. The arguments, they were pointing in each other's face. Someone had food on their lap, like they were eating the food. They didn't throw it. And actually, when they knocked the box up while they were actually pointing at each other and trying to, get at each other and put fingers in there, and the food got knocked over. Nothing was thrown in anybody's face. When someone got up or whatever, when they were pointing fingers and they was like, "Well, get out, get out, get out," that it got knocked over. Nobody threw anything at anybody, and that was just a deliberate lie that Notori said. That's what they're saying on the other side. I won't say who. There's a witness, or supposedly a witness, saying this is what happened. Now, they said she got out of the car. She didn't want to get back in the car. She started, "Oh my God, look what you did. You got food all over me. You just dumped your food on me." They were like, "We didn't dump your food on you. Get in the car," and all this stuff. She did not want to get in the car. So eventually they left. She said she was getting her own way home. She went into KFC and went to the bathroom and then called somebody to come get her or whatever. So they said leaving her was a complete lie. Now, I say that to get to this point. Notori, when she was pregnant, went on the show The Real, and Adrian apologized to her for her role in the situation. right? She apologized for her participation. She apologized for everything she's done. Now, Kali and her auntie, or whoever, sister, auntie, whatever you want to put it, who's been taking care of her and managing her, was like, wow. Because after that, Notori started saying they didn't like me because I was darker than everybody and I never. And they said that clearly wasn't the case. You know, we did not dislike this lady because she was dark skinned at all, and nobody had a problem with color. The only person that had a problem with it was you, because she the one that kept bringing that situation up and kept assuming that she wasn't making it because of her color. Well, that might have been the case but it wasn't 3LW's fault. In the 2000s, in that era, you know, Notori thought that she was working on a deal and that the 3LW and all them decided to cancel it. Truth of the matter was, and this is the part I do know, they weren't really interested in Notori as an independent artist. Only with 3LW. The record companies were not willing to spend money to sign her as an independent artist. They wanted to know why she wasn't with the group anymore. And then when they heard that, well, she had infractions with the management and this and that, they didn't want to get involved in it. You know, because technically her career and, you know, her management, the person that's still in charge of her career, is the sister, friend, slash auntie. So she basically was in control of all of it because they signed the contract. So even if she left, she still was the manager. Now, as far as I know, Christina Milian was the one at this time that people were started. She was just coming into the game, and they were looking more for that appeal. Christina Milian, they was mostly into her, so the people that was coming up was like, okay, we got Maya and we got Christina Milian, you know, and we got Brandy and Monica, and now we got Notori from a group. It's like, look, we got too many girls independently already who we feel have already got some momentum that we're still trying to develop. There was no room for Natari Knowlton at that time. And they just didn't feel her as an independent artist. This I know from other aspects of other people at the time who were in charge of some record companies in LA on the West Coast. So it was pretty much she wasn't gonna take off. You know, she just wasn't gonna take off. It wasn't working out, so I wouldn't blame 3LW for that, but I guess she did. And when she got to the, let me see, when she started to take off, I think that's when she started to go into her acting field more. When she realized that the music thing wasn't gonna really pop, I think she started doing plays, and I think she moved back to New York or something, and started to try to get work there in New York because Cali kind of dried up. Then she started popping up on shows, and they replaced Notori with a girl, Jessica Benson, and it was clear that they wanted to, and they claimed that it was the auntie's fault, but I think Epic Records and everyone else kind of had a hand in this. Even though Notori was out, they wanted to make sure they targeted and got another dark skinned girl in the group so it wouldn't kind of notice a little bit that somebody is missing. So by the naked eye, when you see it, it looks normal. It still looks the same. If they just replaced another singer and just threw him in there and she kind of didn't resemble Notori, then, you know, people think it's off. So I heard they really targeted, wanted to get a dark skinned African American woman to be in that group. So now it kind of, the eye test right away, unless somebody's really focusing on it, it's like, oh, wait a minute, that's not Notori. That's somebody else. So that was done. Now, that was the only thing for color. Jessica Benson should say, wait a minute. But it didn't work. So they had to get rid of the album and disband because it's just too many conflicts to name this girl stuff. So after joking that they were 2LW, and they ended up doing they end up doing that. What's that? What's that? A Girl Can Mac? The one with Jermaine Dupri wrote all the songs. Oh gosh, I'm trying to think. Let's think that Never Get Enough. Okay, that's what happened. They did the Never Get Enough, I think. And then they started to do the audition for another member and all that stuff. And then Jessica Benson made it. They performed on the Regis and Kelly show or something like that. And anyway, after that, the the group went for bankruptcy basically, mismanagement of funds. The girls didn't have anything, but it seemed like the manager had a lot, and it cost a lot to run a record business, as people found out. Running a group of three, and the artists really don't get that much, so people involved decided we could probably sell this thing here. We package it all up and redistribute it. So after being on the back burner and dropped by labels, Epic Ben cut them loose, and now they with So Def, and things are not looking good. Raven Simone's career, as far as the music, went stale. So now she's doing her Disney thing, and she's looking like, hey, I'm doing good on my show That's So Raven, and got all these things going on here with Disney. Only thing I'm missing is to get my music back off the way I want to. So I need to have a group with me that can come out. So they say, well, let's package her into something that was already working. So they took 3LW, Kelly, Khalid, and what's the name? What was that? I'm trying to think. What was the name of it? God. Oh, the Cheetah Girls. That's it. I thought that was the name of it, the Cheetah Girls. Sorry, y'all. I'm going off of memory. And the Cheetah Girls, that was Raven Simone group, and she got Kelly and Adrian in there. And they got with Raven Simone, and they was finna make this album, and the Cheetah Girls, and they get finna get some Disney checks. So coming out with that album that they had put out already and worked on, Point of No Return, it was like, we're not even gonna promote that out. They called it Phoenix Rising, like they were rising up, and then they renamed it to Point of No Return. And they was like, Point of No Return, whatever. I'm not even. Y'all can do what y'all want. So they got that album just sitting on a shelf. I think they had one song come out, "Feeling You" or something like that. But once they went over to the Cheetah Girls, that was it. 3LW was done. And then Adrian and Khalid went right on over to the Cheetah Girls. And they had a quick run, you know. Everybody got their little money out of it. They had Raven Simone, and then they had what was that? Sabrina, Khalid, and Adrian, and Raven kind of stepped out. So they were getting the Disney money to sing for the Disney kids. And they had the Cheetah-licious and all that stuff. So they had some platinum albums. People were going out getting those Cheetah Girls. And all the platinum records they were making. And what happened? Well, let's just say the artist didn't see a lot of the money. Management saw a lot of the money. And they did a movie called One World, the Cheetah Girls, and then One Cheetah Girls, One World didn't even have Raven Simone in the movie anymore. Then they did a tour, and then the group disbanded. So it was basically that. It had run its course. Um, Raven Simone had basically run her course, and she was moving on. So Khalid ended up getting out of the business. Adrienne Balone ended up bouncing from thing to thing, and you know, sleeping our way into the industry as they do at that time. You know, they rubbed shoulders with some executive producers and producers to stay in the game. Uh, you know, start finding a successful rapper or R&B singer and start doing whatever it takes to stay in the game. You know, whether it's somebody who's up and coming or somebody with hit records. I had a dream I could buy my way to heaven. Before I woke, I spent that on a Lexus. Ah. Whether it's people like that or, you know, somebody on a television show, the brother of the person on the television show. She had her, wild past as we was talking, did her thing. Started having a very adventurous time being young in the industry, running around doing things. Now, she was always the one to sit back, and because she apologized, the manager came out and blasted her on her past, talking about she's sleeping with a married man, which the married man ended up getting divorced and ended up marrying her. Brought up the fact Kanye and other people, I mean, she just went in. And Notori goes to, like yesterday, it just aired. She did another interview talking about the KFC incident. Like, it's like, you got a hit show on Power now. You don't need this. You know, you play Little Kim in the Notorious movie, and then you got this role for Power, and you're doing quite well for yourself, doing this. You don't need to keep throwing salt or dirt on on this one incident over on 3LW, like bringing back these old memories. Khalid is not even in the industry. She's just way out. You know, she's doing her thing. So why do you keep bringing it up? You know, it makes you, even though you could have been the victim, you spoke about it already. Like, there's nowhere else to go with this. So, I mean, that's just the way I look at it. It's like, what are we really doing here? You know, I just think it's over. I mean, Khalid tried to be an independent artist. It it wasn't gonna work. So, you know, it's just what it is, man. It's just, well, the thing is, they were talking about doing a show like The View, which is called The Real, and they did what they called Dinner with Friends. And when they did the Dinner for Friends, that came out, I remember that Bayline ended up doing The Real with Tierra Marie, the other Disney girl, Janine Mai, and Lonnie Love. Yeah, so that's how that came about. Tia and Tamara. Hmm. Tired, y'all. It's really early in the morning. Seriously, early. Too early to be doing this, but I don't want to get it done because somebody else asked me about 3LW again. I'm like, I just don't understand how we get to this point right now. It's like, why are we here? This thing is done over and out. And don't forget to donate to the page. Click the link in the description box. Hit up the Streamlab. Leave me a message, and I'm out.